Hey guys, Chuck Birch's Lawn Care, and today I just wanted to make a video to say thank you to everyone that watches my channel and emails and comments and follows me on Instagram, and all you guys that I've been DMing like crazy lately on Instagram with. Put my Instagram down there in case for you guys that don't know it. Excuse me. For you guys that don't know it and maybe want to do a little BSing, I'm really active on Instagram, so I do a lot of talking to a lot of guys on there. But Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This is going to be my last video of the year. I take a few weeks off from everything to just hang out with the family. My oldest is turning 18 this year. Her birthday's coming up. My birthday's coming up. Christmas is coming up. New Year's is coming up. A lot of stuff coming up. A lot of parties. A lot of this. A lot of that. So take a break from doing the whole YouTube thing. And actually, I'm taking a break even from the business thing. Almost finished with my projection numbers for next year. Once those are done, then I'm done with business for the next few weeks too. It's just going to be straight family time. So this is, like I said, this will be the last video of the year, which a few weeks isn't a big deal. And I will see you guys in the new year, and we'll start talking about the changes I'm making in my business and see what changes you guys are making in your business. I know we're talking had a meeting with my CPA. We've planned out a lot of stuff, explained my vision to him, where I want the business to go, where I see the business going. So then we take that information that I give him, and then we make a plan from there that's going to get me to where I want to be in a mathematically intelligent way, and not just slinging money at the wall and hoping something sticks. So that's went well. So my numbers for the year, hopefully all you guys know your numbers. If you don't, definitely get with a CPA so they can explain to you what your P&Ls and balance sheets really mean, and not just the basics. You need someone that understands tax code and where you can actually delve in and make real numbers for yourself. You're going to see a lot of videos popping up of guys talking about how much money they made this year. A few that even talk about, where their margins they're operating in. And I made a couple notes that I have a piece of advice. You can take it or leave it, but it's advice, really just about advice. And knowing who you're taking your advice from, know where they're coming from, and if they're coming from a place that is relevant for you to take their advice, I guess is what I'm saying. But I've seen a lot of guys giving advice on business structures and tax advice and margins. And one thing I wanted to point out, because I've seen a lot of all over the place. Was an SS Chevelle, man. That's my car. I want another one. I've had one. Had a couple bad experiences in it that made it no more. I want another one. It's my favorite muscle car of all time. I like the 71. The lines are a little bit smoother. I know a lot of guys that like the 69 model and the 70 model. But I'm a 71 guy. But anyway, didn't want to get too off track there with that. So understand about profit margins. So my numbers for the year, I'm sorry I'm bouncing around that a little bit. So we hit 97% of my dollar goal for the year, my sales goal, which I think was pretty good. And the way I came up with my percentages is through or with my CPA. It's not just my, I have my big goal, my big audacious, what is it called? Big ass audacious goal. It's just an out of this, shoot for the moon number. So I have that every year. But then I have a mathematical goal based on the percentages of growth from the previous year, which is why you wanted a good reason to know your numbers, is so you can make a plan for the upcoming year, knowing where you're most likely going to be, where you should mathematically set your goals. So anyway, we were at 97% of goal for money. And I think the only reason I didn't hit 100% of the goal was mowing season ended about a month earlier than normal. We quit weekly mows middle of October, which is, I should say because I was solo at that point again. That's another thing, when my employee quit, that made me have to take a big step and replan or change my plan. I didn't get to push sprinkler blowouts like I wanted to push them. I didn't get to do as many sprinkler blowouts as I would have liked. I would have liked to have done 300 this year. We got right at 200. So 97% of my money goal. However, I hit 106% of my how many customers I wanted this year. So I went over that goal. So 106% of that goal. My profit margin for this year, and when I say profit margin, I mean my net profit margin, was at 18%. So I'm in the average. Average is, I want to say anywhere from 9 to 20 is where lawn maintenance companies kind of operate. And when I say margins, you're going to hear guys giving you astronomical numbers of their margins. Know that there's 4 types of margins that you want to be aware of. So know what margin someone's talking about. You have, and I wrote them down so I would say them right. You have a gross profit margin, or gross profit margin, which is the number that most people are going to give you because it's the biggest number. If I wanted to give you my gross profit margin, I think my gross profit margin is like 52% or something. I don't know. I don't remember where it's at. It's in the big ass number. Then you have an operating profit margin, a pre-tax profit margin, and your net profit margin. And my net profit margin is what I'm talking about. Was 18%, and that's after everything is gone. That's after all your expenses are gone, after all your taxes are gone, after all your payroll for employees are out, which I had one full-time employee this year. I had 2 employees at different times, but both full-time guys. We had it's after everything. That's your bottom number. After your own owner's draws. If you don't take a payroll, then you have to take your owner's draw out of your net profit to get to your real company profit margin. I don't know how. I know there's a mathematically way to explain that, but that's just after you've taken everything out that can come out. And I can put the equation down, I guess, if you wanted to see that. So the way, I'm trying to think of how I can explain it to someone that may not know books or that well. And if you don't, hey, that's no bag. If you don't, you don't. You take, like, say you're using QuickBooks and you do owner's draws. And that's the way I still pay myself, is out of an owner's draw. I don't pay myself on a payroll. Because I'm an LLC. An LLC is not a tax filing, so it doesn't save me anything. I'm a single member LLC, so I pay, it's called a pass-through. So I still get taxed at a sole proprietor rate, which is stinking high. So I take my net profit out of my QuickBooks, then I take my owner's draws out of that net profit, then I divide that number by my gross profit, or my sales, sorry, back up there. I divide that number by my sales for the year. That gives me my net profit. You multiply that by 100 to get it to be a percentage, and that's how I get to my net profit percentage. 18% is where I operated at. I want that number to be better. There's still some efficiencies I need to change. There are some changes coming in the new year based off of that number, and that'll be coming in the new year. We'll talk about that in the whys. I base everything off my net profit margin, which is a number you have a lot of control in, because it takes into account payroll, expenses, owner's draws, all that stuff's taken into account with net profit margin. Now, my net profit margin for the year was 18%. Sales were 97% of goal. Customer count was 106% of goal. And net profit margin was 18%. That's where I ended up at for the year. And we've already ran my taxes for the year. The income that's going to happen isn't going to change that much. So off of that number, then we can make a plan for what I need to do for if I need to make any more purchases in the next couple weeks. That's going to relieve my tax burden, which is a little higher. I owe a little more taxes than what I'd like to owe. And guys, just owing taxes and growing a business, that's just something that's going to happen. If you're doing pretty well, you're going to owe taxes. It is what it is. It's not a bad thing. It just shows that you're growing. But there are certain things you can do to relieve yourself of some of that tax burden that's going to help you. And that's something you can discuss with the CPA. I wouldn't take any YouTube advice on that. Sit down with someone that understands tax code, tax law, understands your vision, where you want to be at, where you want to go, where you are at, takes all that stuff into account, can help you make your advice from there. And that's my advice on advice. So anyway, happy holiday. What's your winter plans? January, I'll be going to the Landscape Business Conference, so if any of you guys are going to that, see you there. Let me know down there if you're going to be there, so I can make sure I look out for you. I don't really do YouTube videos when I'm at this stuff, especially not that, because that's a 100% learning thing for the business. And then in February, I'll be at what is it called? The Lawn and Landscape 2020, going on in Mississippi, I think. The Kohler event, or the event that's being put on by Kohler. I'm trying to line my compressor up, getting ready to go out and do a blowout. Still gotta put my hitch in though. So January we got Landscape Business Conference in here in Washington, and February I think it's Mississippi. That Lawn and Landscape 2020. That's what I wrote down. I'll be going to that, and then we'll be back at firing up the season. So anyway, guys, I just want to say thank you for watching my YouTube channel. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, have a safe, Happy New Year, and I will see you guys in the new year, and thanks for watching.